Hi, I'm Justin Janetzko. I'm a former educator and chaplain for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and now mostly interested in aspects of humanism.
Hi, I'm Chris Babianco. I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist community and enjoy challenging myself and growing through conversations.
Welcome to the Talus Slopes podcast.
If you're questioning the legitimacy of your Christian experience, you're not alone. We've been there too.
That's why we're here. We're going to call out and condemn the toxic behavior and senseless narratives perpetuated by Christians, and we'll provide credible counterpoints and bring the receipts.
Join us as we confront and weigh in on some of the craziest things Christians think, say, and do that often go unchecked.
Here on the Talus Slopes podcast.
All right, what's up, everybody? It is Justin here, and Chris isn't here today. I have given Chris the week off because they're a hard worker. Instead, in the studio, I got my friend Izzy. What's up, Izzy?
What's up? How you doing?
I am doing well. It's about, what time is it? It's almost 10 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
So we're burning the midnight oil almost.
On a Wednesday.
Man, we're troopers.
Out here.
You're a trooper.
Hey.
Because I know you've already had a long days of work.
Hey, but you know, they say that when you enjoy what you're doing, or when you're able to play, right? Are you really working? Or you work hard, you play hard. All the above.
I don't know, man. I still get pretty tired when I'm having a good time.
Right. Exactly. Tired for sure. But, grateful.
Well, I appreciate you being here today. We are here at Talus Slopes going to do something a little bit different than we have been doing for the past month. I have been focused on a particular video, a particular video that came out actually last year, I think in November or so, from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's the faith tradition that I come from, that Chris comes from. Izzy.
I was born into, and my father and mother are pastors, or,
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're somewhat familiar,
Would say so,
with the overall ideas of the Adventist Church and how it operates and what that looks like practically speaking. Anyways, you all know, if you listen to the podcast, that I am a lover of all things YouTube. Not all things YouTube, but most things YouTube. You like YouTube?
Not that much. I watch it. I was trying to get a new phone, and they were trying to sell the Max version of the phone, to me, and I was like, I don't really watch that much on my phone for real. I think I was like, YouTube. I'm like, I wish that was more of a a hook for me.
You were like, you clown.
I was like, yeah, it's cool.
It's cool, yeah.
It's a search engine.
Yeah,
so
it is.
You go there with questions and finding answers. It's so.
But you also got the algorithm.
There is that. It serves up stuff.
And it's always serving me up stuff, for the most part, stuff that, of course, I want to see because it's based on my history. But, every once in a while, and everybody out there that listens to the show on a regular basis knows, I watch a lot of conservative Christian media. I almost said propaganda. I'm going to call it media here, to be fair, as fair as possible. And stuff from the Seventh-day Adventist Church pops up all the time, including the video.
Why do you watch a lot of conservative media?
Oh, man, that's such a great question. I think to me, the bottom line is that I just want to, keep on top of what people that I tend to want to disagree with in the past, how they're progressing in their thoughts. Just to keep myself honest, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I like to make sure that my views are challenged so that if I find a weakness in them, I can always brush up on that or fortify it, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying that. And so, and also it gives me a lot of content for this show.
Got you. It's just it has to be like ears on the ground. That's like the wire.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of slush.
And it is, and
sludge,
and brain mush, I would say as well. Not in an offensive way, but stuff that I look at, I just think to myself, I don't trying to understand this makes my brain hurt. The direction from which you're coming from.
It's funny that you said that, because mental capacity was 100% what I was getting at when I said sludge.
Oh, okay.
Because And that's why I was asking the question, like, why do you watch so much of that stuff? Because it would just like, it would make my brain hurt. Like, because like, I don't like thinking about things that don't make sense because it makes my brain hurt.
Yeah.
And so like, I just focus more on like making things make sense and knowing that no matter what, like it will make sense, as opposed to just like listening to what's wrong to know that like something is right.
But that's why I think about not doing this podcast every single day.
Oh,
Because in order to do it, I have to, again, like you're saying, put my ear to the ground and see what conservative Christians are saying and doing. And it drives me crazy because I just feel it's the exact opposite of what Christianity should be. And it's also pretty nonsensical, illogical, and isn't based in reality for the most part. And you're right. So like it just makes my brain hurt. And then I don't really want to spend my days that way.
yeah. I would say that, you know, being able to do, because I feel like a lot of things like people's brains hurt. So like any way that we can spend our time making our brains feel better and then sharing those tactics with other people so that their brains can feel better through the things that we do together is a way that we could like cultivate community in a way that they'll like come to, you know, now we're meeting a need that they'll come back for, you know, a relieving need. It's like, you know, it's like the difference between pain points and passion points. Like, you feel me? Like in terms of how to connect. But man, I feel you, man. It's
that's
forge along, man.
Exactly.
You know
That's
what
what Chris and I feel compelled to do is just to like give our own brains some release. Again, make sure that we're still thinking things well.
Right.
And through and in a way that we're like holding ourselves accountable, because I don't want to be the one in the echo chamber. I don't want to be the one in the bubble. I want to be the one that's as objective as possible while still making sure that I'm pulling for other human beings.
And sometimes the best way to do that is to hear from the voice of those who are speaking for, I guess, the other human beings or the oppressor. Because like I'm trying to think, like, can we get it from the voice of the oppressed, or is that going to be a one-sided, you know, in terms of like just hearing, you know, where you get this? I'm just so picky, in terms of just like what I let my brain think about.
Again, I would like to do that, but it's YouTube's fault. They keep on serving me up these videos, these conservative videos. And I gotta watch them.
Yeah.
So I do. And I did. And the one that I want to spend, actually, for those of you listening, I am planning on doing, just making this a series and probably releasing a new episode. Chris and I are still going to do our main episodes as we always do. We'll probably be releasing those on Mondays. And then for a while, until I finish this video, I'm probably just going to release these every Thursday. And they're going to be they're not going to necessarily be like content-wise connected to anything else that Talus Slopes is doing. It's just I feel in my heart of hearts that I need to respond, or that somebody needs to respond to the stuff that, and I think that this is pretty largely representative of Christianity in general, but specifically what the Seventh-day Adventist Church is right now saying.
So much suspense. What is?
Well, let me just read you the title of this
video.
And this video comes from the very tippy top of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is the General Conference, and the General Conference president at that. He is the leader, or the pastor, the head pastor of the entire Seventh-day Adventist Church worldwide.
Have you watched Elysium?
I have, actually. Great movie.
That's totally the Elysium of the church. Continue. Let's not digress, but for whoever, if you haven't watched Elysium, watch it.
Gotta watch it. Matt Damon. And
it'll give good,
who else is in that?
Perspectives of just how things go.
Somebody. Yeah. The thing that drew my attention to this is not even necessarily that it came from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, but the title of it. And again, for anybody listening to Talus Slopes, we talk a lot about the LGBTQIA plus community, and particularly how Christianity has responded to that community and continues to respond currently. We're pretty critical of it, the Christian response, for the most part, because we find it to be incredibly lacking and messed up.
Yeah.
Just kind of full stop.
For sure.
And we want to see something change in that. And we feel that if we don't say anything or provide any sort of pushback, it's just going to continue.
Yeah.
And so, Chris and I have agreed that that's, what we're going to do, at least with this podcast, in part with this podcast, amongst all the other crazy stuff that Christians are doing, conservative Christians particularly. Where's the title on this video? How does YouTube work?
You're supposed to be the YouTube guru, so I'm sure you're going to figure it out.
This is embarrassing. Okay. It's called Taking a Bold Stand on Human Sexuality, a special message from Pastor Ted Wilson. See, I told you, he's a pastor.
Does he preach at a church, or does he just travel and preach in different places
I don't think
throughout the year?
His church is the world, Izzy.
Yikes.
So wherever he goes, he's preaching at his home church.
The world is his pulpit. Oh, mercy. That's...
I didn't say all that, but I guess that's a way that you could look at it.
Let's say the Adventist world.
Yeah.
Okay, because he is not what do you call it? What's the name of the word where you fraternize with other religions? Exegetical? No. What is it?
Ecumenical.
Yeah, is he an ecumenicalism?
Adventists are very concerned about ecumenism. Yeah, so no, he ain't trying to do all that. It's not like rolling up to Joel Osteen's church or something like that. So it's
totally the Adventist world is his pulpit.
Yeah, and I guess he loves it that way. I don't know if I were him,
it's a lot smaller than the world.
If I were him, I'd be miserable.
It's the remnant. It's the remnant.
That's a whole other episode.
Exactly
right there.
144,000.
Yo,
if you were counting.
Are you in that?
In that number, I don't know. I think I'm in the larger population.
Okay, sucker.
I'm in the larger population.
I guess it depends on who you ask, right?
Yeah, it's just it's just a probability thing. Like 144,000,
not a large number.
You see what I'm saying? So if I'm guessing and not just judging myself, I would guess and probably be more right if I'm guessing that I'm in the larger
the probability.
Yeah, the probability is
you
more,
ain't going to heaven, my friend.
At least mathematically and probability looking like I'm not in the 144,000.
You're not going to Elysium.
If it takes 144,000, I'm probably not gonna make the cut. We gonna have to figure
I don't
it
feel
out
good about it either, actually.
Somewhere not so far up there.
Well, numerically speaking. Anyways, this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of play it, and we're gonna maybe take this just kind of point by point. And I'm not sure how many episodes it's gonna take to make our way through all of this video. But I'm just going to keep on going because I just feel like it needs to be addressed in a way that Izzy, you said you looked at the comments. Was there anybody pushing back in those comments?
Disappointingly, no. I read comments. I do social media for a living at a large scale for an organization that has varying opinions and has a very also loud minority. So I always have to jump in the comment section to just see what conversations are going on. I like when there's some banter, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and sometimes you got to put out a fire here or there. I'm like, dang, this feels kind of sterilely supportive. Like it didn't even have any I was like, wow, okay.
I am not one to ever comment on anything. I don't think that it does much good. I don't know. You're the expert on social media.
The reason why my eyes, I just had a moment. I'm like, yo, I just recently commented on something that I felt like I needed to speak on. You know what it is? Really briefly, it was about, so during the Grammys, Trevor Noah was mentioning Afrobeat. He made a comment. He basically said people are talking about how Afrobeat's just this new thing on the horizon. But if you're an African kid, you know that you got Afrobeat by your mom every freaking day, and you got all them Afrobeats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now they started talking, harboring on the fact that he said Afrobeat instead of what is more popularly currently known as Afrobeats with the S.
Okay.
Afrobeat is originated from Fela Kuti, who is that's the heart and soul of it, the 5-count rhythm, African music. What's currently played right now is more Afrobeats, and now it's actually being called Afrofusion. But they were someone made a meme about it, and they were calling out the way, and they're like Afrobeat, and they put a question mark, and they're crucifying this person because they're because they literally didn't. And then in the comments, some people are like, it's Afro beats. Yeah. I'm like, First of all, there's a difference, and second of all, it is not that deep.
Yeah.
Like, you feel me?
Well,
so
yeah.
that was my comment in there.
But here's the thing. Unfortunately for me, I do feel that this video is that deep because
then
we're
you should
talking
have.
about human beings.
Then maybe you should have commented then.
I am so like.
Well, this is your comment.
This is my comment, right? Because
Perfect.
I
Just
feel
not in
like
the comment section.
because like you were saying, you looked at the comments and they're
Yeah.
all pretty much leaning one way, and it's the traditional Adventist perspective, which is very like homophobic and anti-queer, basically. And so if I'm going to jump in there and comment, I know exactly what I'm going to get. That's not my audience.
I was about to say, like, it's not your audience in the sense of like their ears are turned off to what you have to say, because I think they would be triggered by what you say.
Both.
And like, I think you would get some engagement with that if you did comment something like, you know, of a different opinion. Do you think that, I don't know how YouTube works, if you get like notifications when people comment, I don't know, but I feel like if it's a hot video and it's still being viewed and other people checking the comments, if you had put something in there, like they probably would be like, who's this,
Bro, I'm just gonna put
and
the
then
link
they
to
would
this
all listen to
show.
your podcast. Put a link, link to this podcast in that video.
Chris and I will get dragged for days. Dude, do you know
you got thick skin, though?
The dark underbelly of the Adventist Church?
I mean,
I've already been dragged enough,
You're
man.
a journalist. They say you can't take the heat. Come on now.
All right, you know what?
Do it.
You're gonna make me
I
do
double D dog dare you.
All right, I'm gonna think about that. But for right now,
Post it.
Let's get back to that. So this is my comment. This is gonna be my comment, and I want to.
I will post a link to your video.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. But this is what I do want to say about it. And look, I will make a few disclaimers before we go any further. Number one, I do not know Ted Wilson as a person. Okay? I don't have any ill will towards this man. In fact, look, my response, and Izzy, whatever it is that you're going to say here in the next couple minutes, which I don't even know, but my response, this is how I feel right now about it, and I'm going to back up and show my work on everything that I say.
Well, you know, because we just talked, so you have a little bit of an idea, you know. But at
you
the
can
same
say
time,
anything, man.
I can,
You can.
and it is.
I don't know the future.
You don't,
Not yet.
and that's valid. But I mean, I think Ted positions himself as a politician because he's the president, right?
I think that's right.
So as a public figure, right, you don't even have to know him, you know, in terms of like personal lives. Like when you position yourself as a public figure, there's some level of transparency and offering up of exposure, you know, to yourself that you take on with that role. That's just a given. So he knows that, and he's like walking with that in mind and communicating with that in mind, that like people are interacting with him on a very intimate level, you know, even though they don't know him, you know, personally.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that I mean, I've watched a lot of Ted Wilson videos in the past, and I'm just like, I'm not sure that this guy believes the things that he's saying, but he has to say those things because he's in an impossible position. So even if his own personal theology goes against what he's saying, and I don't know if it is or not, but
from all the videos that you've watched, do you think that this video that we're talking about, which hopefully will play soon, do you feel like it's either
we'll get there
about, is it in line with the character that you know contextually, or outside of character?
So I think that he believes this stuff, but I think that the things that he is saying, and you'll see a very specific theme all throughout my response to this video, is that the way that he gets to these points, to me, is completely nonsensical and doesn't track across the board of interpreting the Bible. So
does his other videos, like, do they sometimes track better?
No,
they never do. So like,
to me, and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know how, honestly, any of these church administrators, I don't know if they're being honest in the things that they say, because like you're saying, they're a politician. They have to speak to the base no matter what it is that they truly believe, because they have a job to do. The job requires them to probably many times not be who they are.
It's their job to keep the machine going.
Exactly.
That's churning out all sorts of dollars.
Exactly. So this is nothing personal towards Ted Wilson. In fact, you know,
this is business.
Because I want to lift him up. I want to empower him. But I want him to change his mind because I think that the things that he's saying in this video are actually hurting people, are actually taking a toll on innocent people's lives. And that's my concern. And I want him to be able to see that.
So then let's hear it.
So let's go. Okay. So actually, even before we watch this, I do want to get real quick to the title of this because we're at about 20 minutes here. We can keep doing this.
Yeah, we good.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. We do have to listen to some of the video at least.
Oh, we do.
I kind of laughed or chuckled to myself when I saw the title of this. Again, it's taking a bold stand on human sexuality and knowing that this is going to be an anti-LGBTQIA plus talk.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, how is that bold exactly? Because to me, that kind of aligns with the status quo, particularly in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, particularly within Christianity. Like, even if you disagree with him, you do understand that that's been, historically speaking, the popular rhetoric. That, you know, if you're gay, that's a sin. And so that's basically what he is going to suggest in this video. No spoiler alert, but spoiler alert.
But yeah, so you're like, how is that bold? In terms of like watching the video, what you didn't get like a sense of boldness from what was communicated.
He's just saying everything that the Seventh-day Adventist Church has believed my entire life, and what Christians, for the most part, have believed my entire life.
So why would you say that the media team that put this piece of content together would use those specific words for this video?
To me, I think it's because, and it's probably several different reasons, but to me, my first inclination on that was it's because they understand that there is momentum behind a progressive view on the LGBTQ plus IA plus community.
Correct.
That more and more people, Adventists and Christians alike, are saying, you know what? We've been listening to other individuals that are actually showing their work on this much better than maybe the conservatives are. And so there is a movement within Christianity where people are saying, nah, we think that there's a better way of reading that scripture, and one that actually makes sense at the end of the day, because, hey, love is love. Isn't the Bible supposed to be ultimately at the end of the day all about love? And so I think that, you know, in taking that position of, well, we're going to be bold in proclaiming the traditional and conservative perspective on this, I think they're kind of already setting themselves up to say, you know, we're the victims here. We're the ones that are being canceled, or we're the ones that are being attacked.
So they're being, I think we were talking before how, like, you know, they're being brave. It's almost like you say, like we're being attacked. We're going to be the victims in this situation, and we are needing to be bold in the face of the opposition. And in this case, the opposition is the LGBTQIA plus community. Yeah. When truthfully using those words, and I agree with you, I think they were, you know, trying to tack on to a trending topic. And I definitely see a point where they are using the words as clickbait in the sense that a real bold stand, because even till this day, with all of the positive progress that has been made when it comes to inclusion and equality in the LGBTQIA plus community, there's still so much work to be done, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the LGBTQIA plus community is still a minority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't think there's anybody that would disagree with that.
Okay, so it's a minority.
Including these individuals.
So that's just a classic contradiction in terms of a victim. Yeah. Like it's very hard for in the context of like victimization for the majority opinion to be the victim. Yeah. Right? Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I feel like a bold stance against all odds would be if Ted Wilson said something that was in support of the LGBTQIA
that would
plus community.
actually be bold.
That's what I'm trying to. So that that would be bold.
That would actually shake things up.
That would right.
He would be gone too. They would call for his removal immediately.
But that threat, right? We were able to evidently see a threat, and without a threat, there's no substance to be bold for.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think they were. But my question goes back to like, why would their media team use that? And it's like, did they want people to react to it? Did they want people to come to the video hoping for one thing, and then they get hoodwinked into this very sad and boring, like freaking
go easy on the man.
I can't. You are a politician. This is what you get when you sign up for this.
That's
you,
true.
You sign up for this.
Yeah,
so
that's true. He's gonna have to
take it to the bank,
yeah.
Mr. Wilson. You know what I'm saying? And I know the Bible says, "Touch not the anointed." So I'm not saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing about anything beyond the fact that I was not inspired. I was not inspired. I wasn't even. Personally, I wasn't even aggravated. I was bored. I'm like, you can't even, like, it's so clear that like you said, he doesn't even believe this stuff.
Well, who knows? But I mean, you're right. Like, it's not anything I hadn't heard before.
Yeah.
Like, literally all my life. I'm like, y'all been saying the same thing. I'm 42 years old. For 42, well, I wasn't paying attention when I was a baby, but you know what I mean. I know what he's going to say. To me, though, it just spits in the face of the LGBTQ plus community. Because, and if Chris were here, I know exactly what they would say, that when you are marginalized, like you brought up earlier, and you're living out your own experience, and you know that you are going to receive hate and vitriol for it, but you do it anyways, as so many people in the queer community have, that's being bold.
Right.
Saying what has been said for, what seems to be centuries within Christianity.
Yeah.
Again, that ain't bold.
They just, like they I would say that they took advantage of search engine optimized keywords because of the triple entendre.
The experts on the mic right now.
What?
The experts on the mic right now.
100%. Like, I mean, that's a hot topic. So it's going to get high search volume. And they knew that it's like a triple entendre. So like it's bold in no ways and three ways all at the same time. So it's not bold because we clearly outlined that like there is no threat, even as we saw in the comment section. Like it would really be bold if we went in the comment section and there was some backlash. That's how you know you just did something that's bold. Yeah. If people are coming for you. There was not a whisper of opposition in the comment section. So that was not bold. That was comfortably in your comfort zone from a community standpoint. So it wasn't bold, but then it was bold because like they bold-faced bluffed this freaking topic and trying to stand on this when they're saying the exact opposite. So it's bold like, oh, you're really bold right now to really believe that you're going to pull this off. You know what I'm saying? So bold in that capacity and ultimately bold in the sense of like really believing when we understand where the real strength lies, no matter how much they feel like they are the majority, when we know that this particular opinion is actually the loud minority, is that they're really still bold thinking that like they can do something like that can like shut this movement of love and community down with the resources and infrastructure. Like, so it's like, it's bold in like different ways, but they cheated though. Like they took advantage of the system and they get minus points for abusing that.
Minus points. Not
They get
too
minus
generous,
points.
Izzy.
For me.
Dude, that's some good analysis right there.
Man.
See, I'm not the expert. I'm just like, this is mean. But you're like, let me break it down. The triple entendre? Woo!
Come on now.
These people aren't messing around, I guess.
They're getting paid the big bucks Look, I know, right?
Oh,
I get
goodness.
paid. I part of my job is to write captions
Yeah.
and to write titles and to strategically communicate. Apparently, I'm one of the two, trusted voices of the Dayton Metro Library system because I manage the social media and they know how important social media is as a channel to our community. And so I know, even if it is like someone might think it's a whimsical title, like there's someone who's getting paid a lot of money to choose those 5 words on this video that is clearly having ripple effects.
Oh yeah,
in the community.
Yeah, I mean, I have, in full disclosure, and if you've been listening to Talus Slopes for a while, you know that we have talked about other videos that the Adventist Church has put out that I think are quite representative of Christianity in general, conservative Christianity in general.
Yeah.
And so you've got like Mark Finley, who's like the assistant or whatever to Ted Wilson, and then Danny Shelton, who does the 3ABN network, which is a big Adventist satellite station. I don't even know what you call it, but
Three Angels Broadcasting Network.
Yeah, it's just a network of like Adventist programming 24/7.
It feels like AM radio.
But all 3 of these men are making these claims of like, you know what? We're going to say something. It's time to stand up for the truth. And then they go and they just say a bunch of homophobic stuff, which they don't think is homophobic, but they also have no clue what homophobia is,
That's
apparently.
a whole other conversation, like the truth.
Man. You know what? I don't think we're going to make it to the video in this episode.
We didn't even, it's just the title. Hey, the title, see?
Dude, there's so much to unpack in just the title itself. I'm completely happy with that.
If their goals were to get a reaction from that video, someone needs to give whoever gave the title a raise. They deserve a raise because that was clearly, if we could even get past the title, someone's doing their work of trigger happy titles.
Man, I do not know how to take that comment.
What, that they need a raise? Well, they just did it. I mean, look, you have to say touche
you're
sometimes.
right,
Sometimes
right.
you got to just say touche. Like when you're playing chess, like if someone does a good move, even though they ain't going to win, you can still be like, okay, you know what?
You're completely, because you're right. It works for both ways, because the people that are just, they say that bold, then if they agree with it, they're just like, well, I'm being bold too because I agree with it. Check the box. I'm like, this is bold, and then it's not, obviously, and I get triggered. Check the box. It worked either way.
PR. I actually studied that.
I feel manipulated.
I took a class that was called Persuasion and Propaganda. It was one of my favorite classes. Do you know? Oh, this is the wildest thing. I need to actually send it to you. You probably wouldn't even believe this. I had to do a rhetorical criticism as my final piece. The first time ever I've done a written assignment that was a rhetorical criticism. Usually it's like a research paper. Rhetorical criticism, basically you take an artifact and you analyze it for how it's communicating to you. So I was actually recommended. I was going to choose some other song, I Am Water or something like that, but someone recommended, based on just knowing me and just whatever, like what would be challenging to me, Hozier, the artist Hozier, his song "Take Me to Church."
Yeah.
Have you heard it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and I analyzed it, and this was like, when was I in college? Like 8 years ago? 8? Is it 8 years ago? I was in my senior year.
While.
Okay. My thesis was talking about the contradiction and the paradox that is presented with the church and their position around gay marriage, and that's what Hozier is talking about in his song and the video. There's a music video along with it.
I think I've seen the video.
My paper was called "Welcome to Church," and it actually got accepted for a journal entry, and I was supposed to go to like conferences and get published and stuff like that. But I literally had to opt out because I was politics. I was getting voted in as the social vice president. It was the same weekend, so I couldn't go to the freaking.
Oh, you're
conference.
one of those politicians. I see.
Well,
no wonder you're so good at this.
Well, I mean,
don't hate the player, hate the game.
it is what it is. But I was really entendres. That's where I learned about the idea of a double entendre. Then I started seeing entendres everywhere. You know what I'm saying? The bigger picture approach was something where I saw where like you make something more important by making it a small thing in a bigger pool. So it's actually more important because there's a bigger story, right?
This is so much deeper than I expected that we would go on just the title of the video alone. All right, well, we're going to cap it here because we are out of time, but come back next week, and we're actually going to start the video. We're actually going to watch it and see what our friend Ted Wilson has to say.
Fasten your seatbelts.
You know?
Tuck yourself in because you're going to be so bored.
If you're too fast, too curious, this ain't the video for you. But no, I do think there's important stuff that needs to be said about it. So if you're digging this conversation, if you want to hear more about a deeper analysis, because that's what this really is a much deeper analysis on this video. Tune in next week. Again, I think we're going to release these on Thursday until we're done with the video, and then that will be that. But again, catch the main episodes releasing on Monday. All right, Izzy, anything else you want to tell people before we get out of here?
Blessings. Pursue growth at all costs, and you'll always be on the right path.
That was so much more inspiring than Ted Wilson's video.
And a lot shorter.